Road to 50 million is right here, right now. And I want to talk about entrepreneurship. I had a beautiful opportunity a little bit earlier today to be on a podcast called Entrepreneurs United. And the two men that were there interviewing me were fabulous. Both of them entrepreneurs, both of them successful, both of them creating some businesses, some that have gone through struggles like all of us have, big successes, big failures. And it made me I actually had decided this morning I wanted to talk about entrepreneurs because though I say, what is my road to 50 million? Well, the road to 50 million is I've committed to helping 50 million people to discover and to serve with their divine gifts. Well, there's a sort of spiritual way to say that, a woo-woo way to say it, and there's a practical way to say it. So if I think of the spiritual way to say it, some of the gifts you might think about are the gift of listening, the gift of empathy, the gift of love, the gift of kindness, the gift of inclusivity, and all of those kinds of things. They're sometimes called soft skills, although I think sometimes they're more important than anything else. And uh, it has been in the past that those kinds of things were dismissed in favor of hardcore productivity, schedule, driving, grinding, that sort of thing. And what we learn, of course, is that grinding burns us out. When we don't have purpose, we quit and wander off the road. And what we have learned powerfully and really is that the things we called soft skills are the most important. Love, creativity, compassion, inspiration, those are the core of successful entrepreneurship. Now, I don't mean everyone that launches a business is full of love and compassion. Some are not. Some launch them just to see how much money they can make or to do whatever. And I can think of several businesses that I know people are in that I wouldn't call full of love and compassion, and I won't talk about those. But entrepreneurship is the choice that you make to take an idea that you have and turn it into a business. It's a choice that you make to take a gift that you're blessed with and turn it into a business. It's a choice to do the extra work, the late nights, the setbacks, and to move through all those kinds of struggles to create a business. Now, one way to think about it is I'm creating a business because I need to make some money. And, there's the idea that if you're self-employed or you own a business, you can set your own schedule and you're wealthy and all the other people do the work for you. And that's really not the truth with most entrepreneurs. I would guess that 90%, and perhaps more. I read the other day that I forgot how many 100,000 businesses are started every year. 500,000 or something, some ridiculously large number. And it may have been a shorter period than a year, but there's tons of businesses that are started. Let's pretend that the number's 500,000 in a year. And if that's wrong, please feel free to make a comment and tell me what the real number is. 500,000 something was the right number. I just am not sure about the time period. So, do you think 500,000 businesses are started with employees and organization and everything else? No. I think 500,000 businesses, or 90+% of those, are started by one person, maybe two, on the back of a napkin with an idea. Once in a while, those businesses, like Jobs and Wozniak, turn into a world-leading universe, right? But most of the time, and for most of the life of those businesses, there are a few people, one, solopreneurs, two or three, a small team, working on an idea to bring it to the world. Most of the time, the bringing it to the world is not about how much money can I make. It's about what is the difference I can make? What can I bring to the world? So the idea of entrepreneurship, which is starting a business or taking an idea from conception to fruition and commercializing it, either in small scale or large scale, is right at the core of my road to 50 million, because I describe it in a spiritual way where I say discovering and serving with your divine gifts. But you know what? Most of us, 99% of us, work in some fashion so we can earn money and pay rent and eat and do the kinds of things that are required. And all that is an energetic exchange. So the people that grow the food get paid, and the people that create electricity get paid. Everything is just moving our energy around. So the work required when you create with your divine gifts, that is the soul of entrepreneurship. Now, if I think about the number of people that I have helped, it's a big number, but the things are as diverse as writing a book, writing several books, creating a course, creating a written document, teaching some subjects, some scholastic subjects, tutoring, teaching piano lessons or other music lessons, songwriting, singing. There are other musical endeavors. I'm not thinking of them right now. I taught a class in electronic music. I taught a class in performance. I taught a class in jazz improvisation. That's just me and other people. There are thousands of other things. That's just music. I have a client right now that's creating world-class paintings. I have clients right now that are writing books. I just was on a podcast this afternoon hosted. It was about entrepreneurship. It was hosted by one of my book clients and a friend of his, and they are holding a big entrepreneurs event later in the year in October, I think. So entrepreneurship is at the core of discovering and serving with your divine gifts. I can promise you right here, right now, if you want to, you can create a business out of your gifts and talents. You can do that if you want to. I had a chance to get acquainted with a lady earlier today who is all about helping us become aware of this new consciousness that's rising in the world. And she and I were talking about it in kind of energetic and woo-woo language. But if you translate that into practical language, nobody eats kumbaya, and it doesn't feed them. So we need, and we are, using the entrepreneurial and creative spirit to turn gifts and talents into real things, into stuff that feeds people, that solves problems, and makes a difference in the world. So here's a challenge I want to issue for you. Now, you know, my road to 50 million, my first quarter ends on January 14th, which is in 12 days. My commitment in my year is to reach 50 million people, to help you discover and serve with your gifts. That means create a business, create an income. So if you want to create money so you can sustain your world, sustain your life, and make an impact, then tapping into your entrepreneurial spirit is exactly the way to do it. I didn't used to know this, what I'm going to share with you right now, but what I've discovered is the fastest way to create a difference in the world and create cash in your bank is to discover the gifts that you have and then to use them, to discover them, to develop them, and serve with them. Now, you're free to go get a job doing anything you want. I did that. I had jobs, many different jobs for many years. They paid the rent or bought a house. They paid food. They did all that kind of stuff. And then I had some hobbies on the side. That's kind of the normal way through life. Get an education of some level, get a job, and then maybe have a hobby on the side. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's how you want to go for it. But there's a yearning inside me and inside so many people that I talk to make a difference in the world the way you want to, using the energy, the love, the intuition, the creativity, and the experience that you and you alone have. And we hear so much gobbledygook talking about that. Have you ever stopped really to try to think about how to make a difference, make an income and an impact with what you do? Have you ever really stopped to think about that? Most people get to that place and then they decide, well, it's too late. Well, I got too many obligations. Well, I don't have time. Well, I don't know where to start. Well, it won't make any difference anyway. And so they settle for mediocrity. They settle for what's easy and obvious. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to live. But what I am telling you that I've discovered is that I have been the happiest when I listen to my intuition and I serve with the gifts that I have. I make money and make a living serving with the gifts that I have. You can too if you want to. The spirit of the entrepreneur is problem solving, it is service oriented, and it is the discovery of new and better ways to do things. In that podcast episode I was on earlier today, it's aimed at entrepreneurs, talking about entrepreneurial problems. And I said, look, we can talk about it in business speak or we can talk about it energetically. But if you really want to make the kind of difference and the kind of money you want to make as an entrepreneur, the first and most important thing you have to work on is who you believe you are, how you talk to yourself, how much you care for and take care of yourself. In other words, the engine of entrepreneurship is your heart. The engine of your creativity is your love. If you don't take care of your love and your heart, your true essence of power, you're not going to build anything that lasts very long. So my invitation to you is to look deep in your heart. Do you want to make a difference? You want to make an income and an impact? You're the kind of person I want to talk to. So my invitation, my road to 50 million is I'm helping 50 million people to discover their gifts, to make a choice to serve with their gifts. And that means creating a business if they want to. That means doing the things that let them have income and impact. And you can do that. Now, it's not possible for me to tell you in general on a broadcast like this because I'm not looking at you face to face. But I can tell you that I've never had a conversation with someone where we really talk about this, where it doesn't become immediately obvious what you could do to make an income and an impact and to grow the business that you have. Even if it's nuts and bolts selling widgets, everything depends on who you're being, how you approach each day, your problem solving. In that podcast, I talked about a book called Learned Optimism. It's a book by a guy named Dr. Martin Seligman. And you know what he discovered in this 20-year big study is people that choose optimism, which I define as simply there's got to be a way to solve this problem, versus pessimism, which is, oh, this is going to be hard or we probably can't. The people that are optimistic make more money. The people that are optimistic live years longer. The people that are optimistic are happier. Well, if you want to be happier, live longer, and make more money, then I invite you to discover and serve with your gifts. If I can help you do that, I'd invite you to be part of my 50 million. My road to 50 million is to do everything I can to serve and help you discover, develop, and serve with your divine gifts. I invite you to get a hold of me if you want to. I'd love to have a conversation because the world needs your spirit. The world needs your courage, your ideas, your entrepreneurial spark. We need you. We'll see you tomorrow on the road to 50 million.